Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, where today's report could mark a pivotal moment for dinar investors around the world. With increasing momentum and whispers of major institutional backing, the conversation surrounding the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar has intensified like never before. A recent statement by the CEO of one of the world's most influential banks, JP Morgan, has triggered waves across the financial sphere. Could this finally be the turning point? Could the long-anticipated revaluation, something investors have waited years for, actually be on the horizon? For those who have been holding dinars patiently, and even for newcomers just now exploring this space, the developments we're covering today are worth paying close attention to. The term RV, or revaluation, refers to a significant shift in a currency's exchange value against other major currencies such as the US dollar. If the Iraqi dinar undergoes such a change, every note in your possession could potentially see a dramatic rise in worth. That's not just speculation anymore. A recent address by JP Morgan's chief executive has added substantial credibility to this possibility, igniting conversations from financial boards to currency forums worldwide. While the executive didn't directly mention the Iraqi dinar, the implications were unmistakable. He spoke broadly about growing opportunities in emerging markets and how major institutions are closely monitoring currency revaluations in those regions. Iraq, with its immense oil reserves and increasing international cooperation, fits this profile squarely. For JP Morgan to publicly acknowledge the possibility of such shifts is monumental. A bank of this stature doesn't make casual observations when it comes to currency markets. Investors are now asking, do global banking leaders know more than they're saying outright? The revaluation conversation has lingered for years, especially since Iraq began its post-war economic rebuilding. Despite facing significant political and economic hurdles, Iraq's long-term potential has always drawn interest. With a large youth population, substantial oil production, and improving global ties, the fundamentals are aligning. Many believe the stage is finally set for the dinar to reclaim lost ground or even surge beyond historical benchmarks. As institutional players like JP Morgan begin taking this matter seriously, what was once a fringe discussion is now being elevated into legitimate financial discourse. The tone has shifted dramatically, which suggests high-level interest in the currency's future. Revaluation is no longer a theory floating in online forums. It's entering global financial boardrooms. Why would Iraq pursue such a move? A stronger currency gives a nation more purchasing power when importing goods, attracts greater foreign investment, and bolsters national confidence. With oil revenues staying steady and signs of internal reform picking up, the Iraqi economy could be ready to support a more robust currency. That's why investor enthusiasm is surging right now. If this happens, the effects would stretch well beyond Iraq's borders, potentially shaking global financial markets and creating profound outcomes for those holding dinars. The remarks from JP Morgan's CEO suggest global institutions might be positioning themselves already. For individual holders, the smartest move is preparation. If revaluation takes place suddenly, many financial institutions may find themselves caught off guard. Not all banks currently handle dinar exchanges, and many staff members may not even be trained for such transactions. That's why it's a strategic time to reach out to your local bank or financial advisor. Ask the right questions, clarify exchange options, and make your intentions known. If enough clients do this, banks may be more inclined to train staff and establish proper procedures in advance. Being prepared isn't just good practice. It could mean the difference between capitalizing quickly or facing long delays. Imagine if the RV occurred tonight. Are your dinars stored securely? Are your receipts and certificates organized? Is your financial plan ready to go? Let's take a moment to consider potential numbers. No one can state definitively what rate the Iraqi dinar might revalue to, but several projections are making the rounds. Some suggest a value near $0.10, while others speculate figures as high as $1.00 or more. Consider a scenario where someone purchased 1 million dinars for roughly $1,000, 0 cents. If the currency appreciated to $0, 50 cents per dinar, that would translate to a return of $500,000, 0 cents. Even minor increases in value could result in life-changing gains. That's what makes this moment feel different. The stakes are enormous, and institutions seem to be waking up to this fact. However, not every analyst agrees on the timing. Some believe more reforms in Iraq are needed before anything concrete happens. Still, the statement from J.P. Morgan marks a significant change in tone. Until recently, large banks were silent on this issue. Now they're openly stating that currency adjustments in emerging markets are on their radar. And J.P. Morgan isn't alone. Other financial institutions have hinted at similar interest. This broader focus on undervalued currency suggests the dinar may be in play. The excitement within the global dinar community is growing. Online spaces filled with investors, from Telegram groups to YouTube channels, are buzzing with discussions, analysis, and planning. If you're not yet engaged in one of these communities, now might be the perfect time. These groups often provide valuable insights into trusted dealers, storage practices, and exchange readiness. They're also a great resource for keeping morale high while the wait continues. Patience remains a crucial part of the process. Before we continue, let's talk safety. If you own physical dinars, consider placing them in a secure location like a home safe or bank deposit box. Keep your purchase documentation updated and accessible. If you're storing them digitally, ensure your records are backed up and properly filed. In moments of major financial transition, being organized can prevent critical delays. As the buzz builds and hopes rise, the key is staying informed, prepared, and ready for what could come next. In the second half of this update, we'll dive deeper into the broader market reaction, public expectations, and expert strategies for navigating the RV when and if it's officially announced. As excitement continues to mount, the question of timing becomes more critical. If the RV does occur, it's likely to set off a wave of urgency across the globe. Banks could experience sudden surges in traffic, systems might slow down, and those who didn't prepare may find themselves struggling to navigate the process. That's why some experts are encouraging holders to create a flexible plan ahead of time. Whether you choose to act immediately or wait for the initial rush to pass, having a well-thought-out approach can make all the difference. For many, the next logical step is to consult with a trusted financial advisor, preferably one with experience in foreign currency exchange. This way, you can establish clear goals, discuss tax implications, and decide on how best to handle any returns you might receive. Planning in advance gives you peace of mind, especially when major events can unfold with little warning. It's also important to temper excitement with realistic expectations. Even though signs from major institutions like J.P. Morgan are encouraging, no financial outcome is guaranteed. The foreign exchange market is volatile by nature, and currencies fluctuate based on geopolitical events, government policy, and market sentiment. This is why experienced investors always stress the golden rule: never invest more than you can afford to lose. That said, for those who already hold dinars, now is the time to pay close attention. The winds of change are stirring, and it's becoming harder to ignore. This shift in tone isn't just theoretical. We've seen an uptick in activity from other international banks and analysts who are also beginning to discuss undervalued or emerging market currencies more openly. These hints, while not direct confirmations, add weight to the growing theory that something significant could be around the corner for the Iraqi dinar. The revaluation topic, once avoided by major institutions, is now inching closer to the center of mainstream financial conversation. One major hurdle still exists: accessibility. Many people wonder why dinar exchanges aren't already offered at every bank branch. The simple answer is that most banks haven't prioritized it due to the dinar's status in global currency markets. It's not currently a heavily traded currency like the euro or yen. However, should Iraq make a formal announcement on revaluation, banks would need to react fast to accommodate demand. That's why it's smart to begin inquiries with your local bank now. The more customers ask, the more likely banks are to prepare ahead of any major announcement. Early preparation from both institutions and individuals will be critical. This includes training staff, setting exchange rates internally, and establishing protocols for verification and transfer. Without this preparation, confusion and backlogs are almost inevitable. Proactive engagement now will help avoid long delays when the time comes. Meanwhile, Iraq continues taking steps that make an RV more likely. The country has been actively working on international oil deals, forming strategic partnerships, and improving its financial infrastructure. All of these are vital pieces in the larger puzzle of economic recovery and re-entry into global financial markets. When a nation strengthens its economic foundation, its currency becomes more attractive to foreign investors. This is exactly the path Iraq seems to be pursuing. And now, with comments from top financial executives like the JP Morgan CEO, the narrative is shifting from isolated hope to mainstream possibility. When large institutions begin watching a currency closely, it sends a clear message. They see potential. And if they're preparing behind the scenes, individual holders should do the same. If you're new to the world of foreign currency, now is a great time to learn. Even if you're not planning to invest immediately, gaining knowledge of how revaluation works, what drives currency values, and how to safely store and exchange foreign notes is valuable. The more informed you are, the more confident you'll feel navigating future updates and potential changes. Monitor financial news from reliable sources. Follow developments in Iraq's economy. Watch for public statements from banks and international advisors. When credible voices like JP Morgan's CEO begin mentioning currency shifts in emerging markets, it signals the beginning of a wider awareness. And in this case, awareness could lead to action. It's also wise to keep track of any developments within the Iraqi government itself. Legislative reforms, central bank updates, and foreign relations policies all play roles in whether or not an Iraqi can move forward. While much of this is out of the public's control, understanding the timeline and intentions of Iraq's policymakers helps you frame your expectations realistically. Let's be clear. There's no confirmed date, no published rate, and no government has made an official announcement regarding the Iraqi dinar's revaluation yet. But we are in a moment where attention is rapidly increasing. The whispers are turning into conversations, the conversations are turning into plans, and the plans, when combined with global interest, could set the stage for one of the most dramatic financial shifts in modern currency history. For those of you who have been patient, who have researched, prepared, and held firm, this may be the moment to double down on staying informed. For newcomers, take the time to read, watch, and ask questions. Engage with the community and consider every detail. Because when change happens in currency markets, it tends to move fast. The key is to be ready when it does. As we wrap up today's report here on Iraqi Dinar News, the message is simple. Stay alert. Stay prepared, and stay realistic. The signals are stronger than ever, and momentum is building. Whether the Iraqi dinar revaluation happens tomorrow, next month, or later this year, the conditions have never looked more favorable than they do right now. The pieces are aligning, and the world is beginning to watch. Don't miss your chance to be ready when the window opens. Thank you for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar News. If today's insights helped clarify your view of what's unfolding, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a critical update. The journey might just be reaching its most important phase.